reason, for some reason, oh well, I can't go live on Facebook, so I don't know what's going on. That's okay. I'm not going to restart it. I'm good. Granberry just left. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I don't know what's going on with that blue app, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Hopefully those who are on TikTok and YouTube, they will find us so that they can get their questions answered. All right. So I am going to, I guess, somewhat get started. I'm going to try and connect to Facebook in a moment. But I am Shakia, the professor of HSINK365. We are home of the Honestly Speaking brand of products. We carry the absolute best sublimation paper and ink money can buy. We have the best on the market. I mean, there's so many benefits to our products. No butcher paper, being able to print using plain paper, bright white, set to the highest quality. So no need to use premium matte, and it's not going to affect the colors. You still get great saturation whenever you're sublimating. 300 as low as 365 degrees, although we have gone lower, as fast as 30 seconds. Normally when I'm doing like shirts, I don't have to like lint brush and do all this extra taping and things of that nature. So there's a lot of benefits to using our paper. So just definitely check that out on our website, shop.hsink365.com, or you can get it via the TikTok shop. We also have our sublimation ink. Our bottles are 140 milliliters, so you get more bang for your buck. And we have heat tape, everything from a half an inch all the way up to 6 inches. It is non-staining, non-marking. And there are times where those wider tapes definitely come in handy, all right? So definitely check out our website, shop.hsink365.com, for those products, as well as to enroll in any classes that we have available or purchase any digital products. So I have been teaching and helping creatives and crafters for well over a decade. Officially, I'm just a little under a decade, but I've always been I've always kind of helped. But I've been on social media doing this. Started with teaching Silhouette Studio because it is a program and a system that really, really helped catapult my business, because I was starting to have issues with my hands and having to hand cut everything. Now I've gone through before where I've shown some of the things that I have done, like before, pre-Silhouette, and I was cutting everything by hand with scissors or an X-Acto knife. So Silhouette system allowed me to really just take it up a notch when it came, especially to like centerpieces or like cutouts for table decor, and having that print and cut feature that you can, print and cut up to 12 by 24 inches with the 12 by 24 inch mat was just game changer for me. And I just, over the years, I have just been sharing the skills that I have developed. I've been doing graphic designing for nearly 3 decades now. And that's what made me fall in love with Silhouette Studio, is the fact that you can really do, you can do some graphic designing. You can be a graphic artist in Silhouette Studio because it has so many amazing tools and features that are in commercialized design softwares. So I've been teaching, creators, crafters, those who are just going from just being regular DIYers, and then you want to get into this and be able to monetize it or just improve on your skills. I have been teaching you guys how to do it for nearly a decade. And this is no different. My, claim to fame is the fact that I'm that very, very helpful person. And I allow you to ask me as an expert a question on live. No obligation to pay anything. Now, if you decide that you want to send a little thank you to, via the super chat, super sticker, stars, directly to our Cash App, our PayPal, things of that nature, hey, it's always, of course, welcome. It's a great way to say thank you, and we do greatly appreciate it. But when I come on these platforms, it is simply to be able to help you guys in real time, because I hear, the things inside of groups where it's like, yeah, YouTube videos can be great, but sometimes there are gaps in the information, and it's like, you'll ask a question, that person may have abandoned that video. They're not really coming in and checking for notifications and answering stuff on that video. I like to answer questions that are posted or comments that are posted on my videos, but I like to do these live videos like this, which are basically set up to be Q&A sessions. It's all driven by you guys. I used to do a lot of pre-recorded lessons. Hey, if you're just now finding me, you kind of have to go back and watch those. It's still great and valuable information where it was like on a specific thing, whether I'm showing you how to do something, you know, in Silhouette Studio, whether it's like what is compound path or edit points or subtract or just putting together a design. If I was doing, now I still do a lot of like the actual production type stuff. I'll go live and show like me making a t-shirt. I just went live on TikTok making some memorial ribbons. I've done party favors and balloons. We've done all of that on live. But when it comes to the design side, we do have classes that has become a part of, you know, our business and a way for our family to make money and, you know, and to support our family. I don't do as much of the custom stuff, but I still do a lot of it. Grad tees is always busy for me. But I don't really advertise as much. I spend a lot of times putting together things to be able to teach you guys and just fill in those gaps. So whenever I come on live now, every so often I'll come with like, all right, let me show you guys this, or someone may have asked a question and I thought it was like a really cool question, like mainly in like the Facebook groups. And I'm like, okay, let me come and like just, you know, demonstrate this, show this, and be able to help that person as well as the masses. But most of the times I am doing Q&As, and it is up to you guys to basically supply the content by asking a question, and I will go in and then answer that for you live, in person, in color. You know, we can basically dialogue. I've had sessions where it's basically me and someone else, and we're just kind of going, you know, I'm asking a question, they're answering, I'm responding back, and, you know, end up helping pretty much with the whole design. I don't have a problem with doing that. If you're watching over on TikTok and you rather hop in the box to verbalize your question, because it might come off, may come through a lot easier that way. You know, there's limited characters in the chat for TikTok. So if you want to jump in the box and ask your question, hey, we're open for that as well. Okay. Let's see. I see something over here. So I need help with structure. I have a hard time just trying to create something that's not for an order. My mind tends to go blank when it's not for orders. Sometimes I want to create my own original designs, but I always get stuck. Ooh, that's a great question. Ooh, that's another great one. I'm loving these questions. Can you explain how Sezzle works? Are you wanting to know how it works for you as a consumer and you are using Sezzle? Or are you wanting to know how it works as a merchant and you want to be able to put Sezzle on like your website? So let me know which side of that you are coming from. All right. But yeah, so hey, we got some questions on the floor. So let's get started. It still won't let me go live over on Facebook. Every time I try and go, it says that a problem has occurred. It won't let me go live. So hey, guess we won't be doing Facebook today. All right. So as far as your own original designs, that can be something that is a little bit harder to that can be something that's a little bit harder to do right off the bat. So my students who are in my programs, when we're talking about designing, one of the things that I encourage them to do is to find a design. I didn't mean to go, so I meant to go to Google, is to find designs and mimic them. Whether it's a billboard, the mailers that you get, you know, in the mail, junk mail, to a crafter who's wanting to learn how to design, none of this is junk mail. There is a level of graphic designing to it. And I know it might seem like, well, hey, that's not what I'm trying to really design. You know, like flyers and stuff, I want to design for shirts or just put my own things together. I get that, but you have to work that part of your brain. It's like, you know, you can't go and just run a marathon if you've never practiced running before. You have to build up to that. And it's going to design. Also, really defining your design style. What speaks to you? If you are someone, and I know in most groups, they suggest doing this and that, this is how a lot of people operate. It's not me. Some people will operate from a place of, I'm going to make whatever the customer wants. However they want the design done, that's how I'm going to do it. I don't do that. I have a particular design style that is unique to me. I don't do a lot of busy stuff. I love text-based designs. So I spend a lot of money, and that's, well, you spend a lot of money. Now I just spend a lot of time like finding the right fonts on Creative Fabrica, but I spend a lot of time just like favoriting or just like looking at fonts, thinking about how I can use them. This is something that's going to take time to build up to where it's like your designs will come. I'm not going to say like just like that, because I go through a lot of different variations. That's the other thing as well. When you're doing your designs, while I'm still talking through it, I want you guys to give me in the comments, in the chat, like an example of something to just look up. And I'm going to show you how you basically utilize that and recreate it. That's why I put it up over here. So just drop some suggestions in the chat. But one of the things, like for me, I don't try to create one design. A lot of crafters have this mindset of, oh, well, if I spent all this time, like I need to be paid for this. I take that out of my mind, because when I'm just free to create, I can use that element somewhere else. Even if I'm doing an order, I might create some things and I don't even actually use that a part of the design, but I can always go back to it. And now that's one less thing that I have to create for another design. I am notorious for having multiple versions for one order. So if your designs or your thought process or like your creativity is only sparked when you are doing an order, don't design just one version. Design a couple of them, because that's going to, as our tagline for our academy, unlock your creativity. The more you work that, the more you just put just something. Right now, like in Photoshop, we are, there's like not really like a specific type of design we're doing. It is like, hey, let's learn these tools and functions. Let's put anything on the screen. It doesn't have to make sense. That is what I encourage my students to do. And then when we go into design classes, I talk about things like, composition, layout. We talk about focal points. What do you want to be the focal point? How are you going to have that stand out and convey a message? So there's a lot of things that go into creating your own designs, but it first starts with finding your creative voice and how you want to create designs. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So, like if I ordered from you and you Sezzle. Okay. So the way Sezzle works is you're going to come on here. You're going to put whatever you want in the cart. So I'm going to take like the Photoshop, for example. So I'm going to buy now, pay later. I'm going to add this to my cart. And then, I got Jim. I'm going to take that code. It's supposed to be expired by now. So I'm going to go here. Let's log in. I don't know if it'll let me use it. So you're going to go buy now, pay later, and you're going to choose Sezzle. So it's going to take you to Sezzle's website. So that is a totally separate site that you would basically create an account for. Okay. So you're going to go and create an account. Once you go and you create an account, if a particular site, whether it's a merchant on because sometimes you'll be able to see like all the different people that use Sezzle here, or on the person's site, you're going to click that. It's going to take you basically out of our system for just a moment for you to like put in your login and things like that. So how it works, it's no different in cost for you guys. We actually take the hit as the merchants. So you're going to go on there. As long as you have been approved for it, they're going to basically pay us our fee, like the whole thing minus whatever like the fees are. And for you, they're going to basically set up a payment plan, and it's going to be 4 payments. I do believe it is like every 2 weeks. It's not every week. I want to say it's like 4 payments every 2 weeks until that is paid off. They just break it up into even payments, and that's it. There's no interest to it or anything like that. As long as you pay it, you can set up on auto pay, or as long as you just remember, like when they send you the thing and before it's due, you pay it, there's nothing. After those 4 payments are done, you're done with it. So it's installments and no interest. Okay. No, I do not believe that there is a credit check for it. I personally don't really use it. So, but I don't believe, I think that's one of the things some people say, that there's like, I don't know. I would say go on to Sezzle and read it. So some payments is over 6 weeks. Oh, wait, pay for your purchase over 6 weeks with 0 interest. So I guess, oh yeah, see, no hard credit check. There we go, right there. So no hard credit check. So if you just go to Sezzle, you'll see all the information there, and then you can just sign up for it. So they're saying, so 4 payments of 46.26 or monthly payments as low as 21 through Sezzle. So I guess like they have 2 different options. You can do bi-weekly payments, or you can do monthly payments, and I guess it just goes over a longer period of time. Okay, so someone says roller skate. Let's go here and let's go. Let's just go roller skating. Okay. And I'm just going to go images, and I mean, see, these are all full on, like this is all imagery. So let's say, okay, so something like roller skating fundraiser, right? Or let's search roller skating party. And then I'm going to go to images. So here you're going to see different layouts for different things. This is a really, really easy one where it is a skate, and it just says let's roll, and then there are some stars around it. Now, doing the whole roll where it's kind of going around the skate, that really depends on like which program you're using. But for everything else, you can create this yourself, right? So you're going to do a search for roller skate, which we kind of did the first time. So I'm just going to go roller skate, and I'm going to search for images. Or you can put like roller skate clip art, things of that nature. There are some that you would be able to purchase, for it to be more of a clip art or like an SVG. There's going to be some where it's just a regular roller skate, and that's fine. Like I've done projects, and I've done cutouts where it's like a real roller skate. I've done it with a real ice skating, an ice skate, things of that nature. So let's just say we went with this one, even though it's not a clip like a illustration of a roller skate, it is a roller skate. So we're going to go on here. This is where you have to learn those core skills, those foundational skills. Like, how do you save an image? Okay, how do you save it so that you can bring it into a program like Silhouette Studio, Photoshop, Canva, Illustrator, Corel Draw, Photoshop Elements, Word, Cricut Design Space, Caesar Leonardo Design Studio? Like, how do you save it? How many of you guys here know, like, I guess put a 3 if you're not quite familiar how to properly save from the internet. Put a 3 if you're not quite sure how to save. Should I search for SVG files to cut it? Yes and no. Because it doesn't have to be an SVG file. So let's say I search for roller skate. Well, I'm going to do another window because I want to keep this one. So I'm going to go roller skate clip art. Okay. Or I can do coloring book pages. Depending on which program you are using, a lot of them will allow you to color it in. Silhouette Studio, you are able to trace for free with Silhouette Studio. and then fill it in with color. So you don't necessarily need an SVG. So what an SVG is, it's called a scalable vector graphic. So it's just vectorized. Vector means that it is made up of paths. It's like solid shapes, and it's just filled in with color. There are no pixels. There's no way for you to fade things off and things of that nature, because it's all made up of solid shapes that you fill with color. If you want dimension, if you want things to look like it's a bubble, or, you would do things like additional layers that are like shorter, and then you're going to just change the color. You're going to either make it a highlight, making a lighter color, making a darker color. So that ombre look is basically a bunch of repeats of the same thing, different sizes, and like cut into it. And that's how you add depth. Hold on one second. Let dogs, and they were freaking out. So here we go, right here. So something like this, right? This can be a vector. Now, once it's saved as a JPEG or a PNG, it's no longer vector. Vectors have to stay in a vectorized format. It has to live like it has to be still in Silhouette Studio. It has to still be in Illustrator, or it has to be saved in a vector format so that when you open it, it's still in layers. So SVGs, DXF, certain PDFs, EPS files. So this was designed in a vector program. It wasn't designed in something like Photoshop because it doesn't have like blurred lines. You can tell that this was vector because it's all straight edge lines. Same thing with this. But as is, it is a it's rasterized. It's a bitmap. But you can take this and then vectorize it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be. Now, if you want to actually cut it layer for layer and not around the edges, you want to cut out all the pinks, all the what's that? That's like a darker purple. What's the darker purple? Like well, you have violet, you have mauve, you have white, you have a light pink. If you want to cut out all of those different things from either vinyl or paper, then that has to be vectorized. It has to be put into a vector format. It doesn't necessarily have to be an SVG. So I can take this roller skate and I can go copy image. Well, let me first open it. So when you're looking at it on this, like in a search engine, you never want to save from these thumbnails. If you look really closely on here, this actually shows it looks a little blurry. Or at least, yeah, it has some pixelation to it. So you never want to take it from there. You always want to click on it, and the actual preview thumbnail is where you want to save from. Never from the preview here. You want not sorry. You don't want to save it from the thumbnail. You want to click on it and save it from the preview. All right. So I'm going to go right click and I'm going to go copy. Please hold. Sorry, the little person came to bug me. So I'm going to just copy it because I can see it has a white background. It's going to make it really easy for me to save it. To bring it into Silhouette Studio and be able to trace it. Now, a program like Canva, that's something that everybody's kind of like into right now. People want to learn how to use Canva, but you cannot do what I'm about to do in a program like Canva. It has to be done in a program where you can actually select different sections. So if I were to bring this into Photoshop, I can do a selection of like the darker areas. I mean, you also have like your live bucket and things like that to be able to fill it in. But normally you would create that selection, fill it in, and then everything everywhere else, you're going to have selections for that and you'll fill it in. And they're going to all be on different layers when you're looking at it in Photoshop. But a program like Silhouette Studio, which is my program of choice to teach in, let me close out here. I'm going to just open up a new and I'm going to go paste. Okay. I can blow it up. This was a really good resolution image. I didn't have a lot of distortion once I increased the size. So in Silhouette Studio, we're going to go to trace. We're going to trace, click on select trace area and place our box. Do I need everything on here to trace? Absolutely not. I only need the main area, like the darker areas, because it creates the opening or the gaps that really create all the other colors. The only thing that I would have to worry about is like this lighter color here, which I would do that in a separate trace. So for the initial trace, I can just hit trace. The little person tried me. Ooh, Jesus. So now I'm going to do another trace. And I want to now increase my threshold. Come on. And I'm trying to basically, well, I can do it here to get those smaller areas, but I'm going to try and pull it back. I want, come on now. I want to get it around. I want this area and that, but I think I may end up having to go up too high. Come on now. Why do you keep going in reverse? Okay, so I probably won't be able to get like these little pieces and this part here. So I'll probably end up having to do 3 traces. So let's see. Let's go 68. Okay, so that's going to give me that outline. I'm going to hit trace on that. This is a more advanced type trace. You got to first understand just a basic trace. So I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to take my threshold all the way up so that I can get those white highlights. Okay, and then I'm going to go trace on this. This will do a couple of things. It's going to allow me to make this whatever color I want. I might like that the shape of that scape, but it doesn't fit with what I am creating. So I may want to go in and just customize it for whatever, however I want it to look. So vectorizing and tracing allows you to do that, because if you only hit hue and saturation on this, it will change the colors on it, but it's not going to give you like the exact colors that you desire. So see, I can move my hue on this and make this different colors, but I cannot force it to be a certain set of colors. Now with this, I'm going to make everything, I'm just going to start off with like white. I'm going to hold down. Ooh, that was a horrible trace, but that's okay. Hold down shift. I'm going to click. That was deselecting it. Now I'm going to make it pink. I'm going to hold down. Well, I can't really hold down shift again because it's beneath it. So that's fine. So the other two were pink. I'm going to click on this, release compound path. Well, first, let me try and clean this up a little bit by double clicking and simplify, because that was a horrible trace. All right, so now I'm going to release compound path. I'm going to hold down shift, click on these highlighted parts that will deselect them, delete everything else. Okay, so now these, let's go ahead and make them a compound path or group them together. So this, I only needed it for this piece right here. So I'm going to click on that, release compound path, hold down shift, click on that area and delete everything else. Now I have this one, which was this darker color here. We're going to do the same thing, release compound path. The difference now though is I can fill these colors in. This is supposed to be an opening. Click, click. I'm gonna make it a compound path so that that's an opening. And then now everything else I can color. So I can click here. And I think this part right here might be the same color here. We're going to use our dropper sample. This is going to be white. This is going to be the darker pink. And then this is going to be that purple color. But if you wanted to do a combination of reds, hot pinks, light blues, like pastel colors, you can change these now to whatever colors you want them to be because it is vectorized. You can cut these, you can separate them and cut them from pieces of vinyl paper, you know, whatever, and then piece them together. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an SVG, but if you want to be able to cut it, it needs to be a file that can be traced. Files like, let's say this skate right here, you won't be able to like you can trace it because there's actually dark, like the outline is black. So that one you might be able to like trace, but some of them, let's say an image like this skate right here, you would not be able to do that whole like just automatic trace. You would have to manually kind of trace that out or recreate it utilizing shapes and things of that nature. Everything that you see here is vector. It was originally created with just shapes. Whether it's circles, they were welded together, you warp them, you move them, you change the edit points, things of that nature. They are vector based because they are solid outlines. They wouldn't necessarily be easy to just trace because there isn't a lot of separation between the colors on them. There's a lot of colors that basically like end in one spot and begin. So that one won't be as hard. Like you can still do it, but you would have to manually create those different areas. So hopefully that kind of cleared that up and it made sense for you. But let's take, so and I talked about how to properly save. We talked about that. You don't want to do it from the thumbnail. You want to go to the preview and you can either right click and save as, or you can right click and copy, because even if you are using Canva, copy image, I can come over to Canva and I can come in and hit paste, and that image is going to paste in Canva. So it was actually a PNG file. There's no background to it. If I were to come to Silhouette Studio and paste that PNG, however, it will have a black background to it because it is a true PNG. So that part is kind of like funky when it comes to Silhouette Studio and copying and pasting PNGs. What you will have to do then is save it and then open it in Silhouette Studio because it'll have the black background to it. Okay. But you can then take this. Let's just go over to Canvas. It doesn't really matter which program for this particular like kind of design, what program you're doing it in. So if that inspiration was the one that said, let's roll, it has stars around it. It has the words, let's roll. You're going to pull in any skate. You're going to grab, you're going to get stars. Who is this? Canva has elements. So if you just go stars, okay, there you have a lot of different ones. So like whether it's a shape, if it's a graphic, that you will be able to change the colors on. So with this shape, you can place it here. You can rotate it. So you can duplicate it, make that one smaller, change the color on it. You can even sample colors from in the design. So you can pick that up. This we're going to sample. Oh, well, actually, it tells you the document colors. So it's going to tell you a lot of the colors that are in here already. So we're just going to hit that one. It's not picking up this blue or this orange. So we're just going to go, we're going to go here. And this one, we're going to go to the blue. I'm going to go and grab the yellow from the wheel. So you can rotate them, make them bigger sizes and arrange them. And you're going to try and get as close to how this design looks as possible, just utilizing a different scape. Okay. Then you're going to add text to it. Choose what font speaks to you. It doesn't have to match that. That is how you find your own design voice. You find something that you are inspired by. You like kind of like the setup. Now let me see, how can I create this, in my style? If it's something like an invitation, you go, it's a skate off to the side, it's confetti, or glitter, glitter confetti at the top. You're going to go and find that Canva has a lot of those elements. The way roll on over, find you a text, do it, type it out, rotate it. The way they have the invitation stuff, it's not for anyone. Copy the information exactly as you see it. That's going to get you more familiarized with your design program and how to add text, how to change colors. And you don't have to. One of the issues I think you guys are having is, not only are you trying to find your design voice, but you don't even know how to use the program. And learning to use a program and learning to design are two different things. They are not the same in any capacity. Learning to design and using a design program and learning like how the tools and functions work. So if you can eliminate one of those things, the inspiration, the design is there. So now you're focusing on utilizing the program to mimic that. And you're going to, in turn, like help you with, find your design voice and learn that program a little bit better, because you're not worried about thinking about the exact layout and composition of design. Make sense? Even something like this, right? Take a picture. This is still some form of graphic design where there's just a picture, and it could have been, well, it is, I would say it looks like a YouTube thumbnail, and it was like just a picture, and then it just says happy birthday Jillian. Now that image in the front could very well be a separate picture. They took the picture like with their hands up. So knowing how to use background removers and how to position things. So you're going to have a solid picture to the background. You're going to take the picture of the subject, remove whatever background is around them, place them, and then add text. So maybe your favorite YouTube channels, their thumbnails, figuring out how to like recreating those, mimicking those. That's going to help you learn whatever program, and you'll start to figure out like the things that you like to do. Let's see who's been like, it's quite a few people now watching kind of from YouTube. I got a few folks over here on TikTok. I'm pretty sure it's some folks who've been watching me for a while. What is one of the things that I love to do? And like most of my designs, you're going to see this particular design style or this design technique. There we go. There's probably like, I will accept two answers. There's two things that I absolutely love to do. So you've been watching me for a while. You've seen, even if you just seen my designs, what is something that I don't have any problem doing? And I actually love doing it. What is a design technique that I normally have in it's like most people can look at something and they're going to think that just might be a Shakia design. Using some of the same elements and fonts, not really. Edit points, no, because I don't always have to use edit points. I mean, you can't, and you really can't tell in a design if somebody used edit points or they did any point editing. Okay, so I'm going to, let's see if you guys can pick up on it. So I think all of these kind of sort of have it there. Let's see. Okay, I don't think I have any more open here. But every last one of them actually had what I consider to be my signature. Every last one. That is so bad. I am so addicted to this thing. So wait, I don't need this one. I think this even, well, I mean, this one I kind of had no choice because of what that was going to go on. So I really had no choice for that one. So definitely isn't here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. It's near. It's definitely in this one. And that's kind of the same one. And that's the one we're working on now. You didn't pick up on what it is? All right, let's see. Let me go open. So it doesn't matter if it's text, if it's an image. It normally happens, even if it's not text. It's normally in my. It's normally always in my designs. View large icons, group by type. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I don't know what one that is. I don't know why it's not showing me the actual like pictures of the designs. Multiple offsets. I mean, I do that, but nah. Because some of those things did not have, it was just a picture. And the picture did it, regardless of what. Like some of those things did not have offsets on them. Ooh, look, I'll show this one. Y'all can't see it on YouTube, but you can see it on TikTok. Hold on. Can you tell yet? Why is it taking forever to open up? What the heck is going on here? I don't know what's going on, but I don't have a problem overlapping elements. I will cover up a part of a letter with another like design, someone's head. I'm going to put an element on top. I am not that designer that feels like everything has to be separated. Something is going to overlap some way, somehow. It is going to overlap. When you look at like these letters, I love designs where part of it is overlap. I don't think there are very many designs that I have where I don't overlap something to where it like slightly, it covers up like part of it. That is a signature for me. Some people, like if it comes to a name, the name has to be by itself. They don't want anything over it. That's not me. People know you're going to get something, part of your word, part of some, it's going to have some sort of cover up. Like it's just, I just don't feel the need to design where everything is like completely like separated. Kind of like if you ever watched the movie Monk, or that movie, the show Monk, and like none of his food could touch. Some of you guys design that way. You don't want any elements to touch. Everything has to have its own space. Like give me 50 feet. Like that's how you design. And so things start to look like too spread out. Or if you like, you may have things layered, but you layer the wrong way. Like you will have a bunch of splatters and this, that, and the third, like behind it, but everything else is like spread out. This is why so many of the designs I see, you'll have a picture that's cut off at the bottom and it's literally sitting in the middle of the design with the straight cut off bottom because you're too afraid to put something over it. It's like if you can't do a fade, you feel like there's nothing else to cover that up other than to fade it. And if you don't know how to fade, your program doesn't offer fades, you just leave it just like that. Not I said the cat. I'm going to cover up sharp lines, and it doesn't feel like it's a cover up because I do it in a very strategic way. Like that is something that I have learned, like I have mastered to cover up things and just kind of layer things on top of each other without it looking crowded. Let me see. I don't know why. Okay, I'm gonna have to close out. Probably because I have way too many things open right now. Now, I do want you guys to know that this is a Q&A. So the information that you hear me sharing right now has been based off of a question or a comment that someone asks. Like, over on TikTok, LaShawn asks, I'm having trouble like just figuring out designs and finding my own voice and creating my own designs. We had, I think it was Angie that gave us the suggestion. I said, hey, give me something to kind of look up because I was explaining that when she said roller skater. So I kind of checked, I went and did like the whole roller skating thing. And we're still talking about like how to find your own design voice. This session is completely driven by your questions, your input, your inquiries, your frustrations, your pain points. So utilize that chat. Talk to me. I am an industry expert in this field. I'm come from the same world as you. I've done these. I've been at the lows of lows, the highs. I've built up. I've been in this nearly 3 decades. So it's not like I'm not like someone that just got into it and I'm learning with you. I'm just have a great gift for gab and, I really don't know what I'm doing, but because I'm a great communicator, I'm going to come on here and pretend like I know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to, draw you all in and get you to sign up for X, Y, and Z. I've been doing this for nearly 3 decades. From graphic designing to, making buttons, making shirts, our graphic design class had a screen print. So I started off doing screen printed shirts. I know how to develop film in a dark room and things of that nature. So you are on a live broadcast right now with someone who's been in your shoes, who's gone through the ranks and, has some designs that were starter designs, not knowing how to price, not knowing how to market, not knowing where to put your designs at, how to get new clients, how to design, how to use these programs. And I have just worked on my skills. So I am someone that can truly answer your questions and understand you and speak your language. But if you don't ask the questions, you can just hope and pray that you put in the right keyword search and find a video that's going to help you. And hopefully they eventually answer your comment on the video that you found, or you can ask someone who's offering help in real time. That is what I do these for. If you're the type of person where you just watch these videos, you just want to watch what somebody else does, whatever they tell you, you're just going to go with that. You're going to go out and buy all the things they tell you to buy because they have great numbers. They have hundreds and thousands of people watching. They have to know what they're talking about. If all these people are watching, oh, I need this. If they got that many people watch, that must mean it's working for them. The internet is full of people who are basically perpetrators. And hey, you never know if I might be one of them, but you won't know until you test me. Ask the question and let me not just come on with the I could like someone that probably practiced what they were going to say all the time. Challenge me on the fly. post a question, post your concerns, and see if I am able to help you. That is what I do these sessions for. If there are no questions, there's no comments, there's no questions, hey, it's going to be a very, very quick session, and it's not going to be very helpful to you guys. I am in a position now where, because teaching is my bread and butter, that is how I make money. I'm not going to offer up to give you just free training. I'm just going to come on here and, hey, let me teach you everything that I have acquired for 26 years for free. You're going to be able to take that information. You're going to be able to flip it and turn it into revenue, yet I will sit here and not make anything. That's not going to happen. Like, I'm going to push you towards a class. Hey, come learn with me. So I don't do a lot of, come on here, kind of have a a whole syllabus and a whole lesson plan, but I will answer your questions. But if you guys don't ask questions, I can't help you. I'm trying my best to help you with the experience that I have. But if you don't ask questions, hey, I'll try again another day. If there's fear in you, like, how do you guys say you want to run a business, but you operate in fear? You're afraid to ask questions. You don't want to. In business, you're going to look silly. You have to be able to put yourself out there, because that's what marketing's going to do. You're going to also like pitch things to people for the door to be slammed in your face. Not everything's going to be a yes. So you have to build up that tough skin. You have to be willing to be vulnerable if you're going to do business. All right. So any questions on design is more so what, when I'm doing them like this is, hey, what, anything I can help you with design, because the camera's not going to be on me. So I will answer your question, Angie, as far as like how to price and things of that nature, but you're going to just be looking at like a blank screen or it's just going to be on a screen because the camera's not on me to like see my face. So it's just going to be on a static screen. So I don't have a problem answering those questions. But I would like more questions where I can show you guys. Designing is the foundation of what you're going to do as a creator, as someone that's doing customs, no matter what type of custom that it is. Designing is the foundation of that, or you're going to have to rely on the finished designs of others. It is okay to still spend money on elements. Go get ready-made PNGs, ready-made SVGs, and you're going to add to them. You're going to size them, but you have to know how to do that. So any design-related questions or something where I can do like a Google search and show you that, great. Anything that you ask that's not related to those, just know that you're going to look at my website as I talk through it, okay? All right, so we're going to go back because we're going to, we're going to shamelessly plug my website and my classes and things of that nature. Might as well. So we're just going to click back here. So I'm just starting a side business with HTV. Can you advise how to price them? That is a very, very loaded question. Some people will say, know your worth and charge based off of your worth and all these things when it comes to how much you're paying for items. The truth of the matter is most crafters, when they start, because you're not set up in a way to be able to buy in bulk and get your items at a lower cost to where you can profit more, there is kind of an industry standard or, especially depending on who you're marketing to. I can't tell you how to price like exactly because I don't know who your target audience is. Are you doing upper echelon? Like, folks that have money, like you want the, those who have maybe higher paying jobs. Do you eventually want to be someone that does custom items for the celebrities, whether it's a B-list celebrity, A-list celebrity? You're like, hey, I don't really need to do A-list. I know I can't really. Give me some D-list, some E-list celebrities, like some folk that think they have some notoriety, who got a little clout, little following on social media. They post my stuff. It'll get me some more of their fans that's a little bit closer to my stilo. You have to define who it is you're selling to. I tell this all the time. When I was doing event planning, my main objective was to reach parents who otherwise probably like couldn't afford like these big elaborate, like how they do them now. Like their money wasn't that long, but they wanted their kids to have a nice experience. Now, yeah, I'm not gonna short myself and give you the world and you're paying little to nothing. Like, that's not going to happen, Captain. But we can work within your budget and do some things that work within your budget. If it's, hey, you need more balloons, like spread around, instead of focusing on this big focal organic arch that people want to charge an arm and a leg for, let's figure out how we can use the same amount of balloons and we can fill the space. Like, I used to do things like that. What can I do? Because I'm a crafter, I love to create. Okay, you can't get a bunch of glass and a bunch of real florals, but I can create this and it's a rental. It's going to come back to me. I'm going to charge you basically to like rearrange them to put these faux flowers or to be able to have this centerpiece and cut out. You first have to identify who you're selling to, because you can be the greatest in the world and feel like you are worth $1 million. But if your target audience or the people who you are actually communicating with, who you're showing your work to on social media, who your friends and family are showing it to, if they're not trying to pay $1 million, you're gonna know your worth and be broke. Okay, you're gonna have zero sales, but you're gonna know your worth. Oh, you're gonna know your worth. You're gonna stand on business about your worth. And you're not going to make one sale. So the first thing is identifying who you want to sell to. What are they like? What are they? Do they have disposable income to spend on things? Because contrary to what crafters like to believe, folks don't need what we do. They may want it. Can they afford to pay for it? And I can't stand when crafters are like, oh, well, if you can't afford, they say that as if it's a bad thing. Some folks don't know. You're in this world every single day. We're in these groups and you're seeing how much people are charging and you know the work that goes into it. I don't understand why some of these crafters assume that everybody knows how much work goes into these things. Oh, they should know it is work. This take time. This take this. And they're saying it with an attitude and this aggression. And it's like, baby, they don't know. I mean, educate a little bit. Just say what the price is. And if they say it's too rich for their blood, it's too rich for their blood. That means you need to check yourself, because you are advertising. If your content is only getting out to people within a certain demographic, and they can't afford it, and you're pricing for another, but you're doing nothing to advertise and get in front of that demographic, you are the problem, not the customer. I know some of y'all don't want to hear that. I'm going to lose some viewers on that. Y'all don't like to hear the truth. You like to hear that everything that you do is worth all the money in the world, and they need to respect your price. They need to pay what the price is the price. That's what they love to teach. The price is the price. It is. And it can be the price is the price. But if you are not advertising to the people that want to pay that money, your price going to be your price and your bank account going to stay at zero. Okay. So now, how can you price items? You're starting out. When I started out, you may not want to follow what I did. I needed to really, really get an understanding of how long it took to do something, what the process will be, because we'll get into it and we think that it's really easy to do if we had like one color. We had like a design that was made with impact font, not a lot of weeding, not a lot of layering, not a lot of changing out of mats and doing this, that, and the third. We have one Cricut machine or one Silhouette machine, just one cutting machine in general. And it's like, oh, it's pretty easy to do this, whatever, right? And they'll tell you, just do supplies times 3. I don't know what level you're on. Are you just, is it just a side hustle for you? Are you wanting to build a business? Did you go through how are you going to sell your items? Is it going to be, hey, just text me what you want. I'm going to text you back how much it costs. Go ahead and send me a Cashapp, a Zelle, a Venmo, a PayPal, da, 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 da. Are you going to have a website? Are you going to do Etsy where you have those fees? Are you going to register with your local like IRS for like your sales tax? So you have to end up paying that. Are you going to insure any of this equipment that you have invested money in? How much equipment do you have? Like, is it worth protecting it and getting insurance for it? Are you going to structure this as a business from jump? You're like, hey, I've kind of looked at some things. I know I can kind of just start this off and kind of do it, on the side, but I really want to set everything up. I want to be able to secure my domain. I want to be able to secure, I want to set up my LLC and things of that nature. That changes the game on how you do business. But if you're starting out and it's like, It's just a little, it's just to make a little mad money. It's really a side hustle. Because when you tell me you want to do business, I'm going to immediately go to business. And business includes structure. Business includes paying your taxes. Business includes having processors to be able to process your payments, or having invoicing systems. It means having policies and procedures and terms of conditions. That is what business is. You're going to have a marketing budget, a marketing plan. Like, it's a lot. Like, I had one person, when I lay all this out to them, when I had my business program, my summer business program, and I'm laying this out, she was like, wait a minute, this is too much. This is more than what I thought. I just want to, make a few shirts, make a couple tumblers. This is a lot. Can I get a refund on this class? Because I'm not ready for this. No, you can't. But you'll have this information when you're ready for it. Not everybody is ready for business. There's this negative connotation to side hustle because you feel like people are going to devalue you. But what you're doing is a side hustle. You're not putting in the necessary steps and the necessary work for business. You don't want to spend that money. You don't want to invest that money for it to be a business. So it's a side hustle. And it is okay for it to be a side hustle. It is okay for you to just be a sole proprietor, not set anything up. You can have a name. You can do it's called DBA, doing business as, or hell, I'd rather change it to DSHA. Okay. Doing side hustle as. It's okay to separate that and kind of have a name, for that, so that if you decide to turn it into a business, you set that foundation. That part is perfectly fine to do. But when I started, it was a lot of things that I was just kind of doing for myself. I kind of got the hang of it. And when people would see it and they want it, I would not immediately charge for labor. Most times they would give me like a love offering, a tip, or, a thank you for doing X, Y, and Z, because I'm being very honest in this. Hey, yes, I'm doing this. I'm trying to build up, to a business. I can do this for you. Right now, like, all you have to worry about paying for is the supplies. Some people's like, oh no, my time is worth more than that and stuff like that. But you're still learning. That's like going on a job. You're in training. When you're in training on a job, they pay you. They don't pay you the full hourly wage or the salary because you are training. Just because you start your own business, if you're new to this, you're still learning. You're in the training phase. You should not be paid top dollar or the same amount as somebody who's been doing this for 30 years and can do this ish with their eyes closed. So there's a lot of different variables when it comes to how I price it. That's why I said that's a loaded question for me. Some will say just do ×3. I don't know if you, Angie, have already gone and you've done all these other things and you have overhead. I don't know how you're purchasing your items, because when you're buying things retail and you're saying multiply, people are telling you multiply it by 3. The average consumer is not going to want to pay ×3 because you're buying it at retail. That ×3 a lot of the times refers to people who are getting their items at wholesale or resale prices. But going ×3 at retail normally is what pushes clients away. Okay. So for me, starting out, whatever the actual raw material is, plus, like, you can do it maybe ×2 or like half, like, just in case you mess up because you are new. Like, at least have them pay for the material. If the shirt is like only takes up, like, let's say 11 by 6 inches, if you tell them, hey, the price for a full yard is this, they don't know it takes up a full yard or what it needs, like what all you need. So at least, like, how I used to do it was I would let them know a cost to where I had things that I could use afterwards. So if they wanted a shirt, hey, the supplies for this, the shirt costs this amount. I'm gonna always do it for 2 shirts, just in case one mess up. If it really only took a 12 by, like, I can get it on a 12 by 12 sheet. I'm gonna tell them the price for a 12 by 24 inch sheet. That way they've paid for like the next time that I do this. And even if I tell somebody else that is how I'm slowly starting to build like, hey, I am actually making money from this because somebody else paid for this. I'm still gonna charge you the same price, but I'm not really charging like on labor because I'm getting my bearings. And during this time, you're gonna find out that there's so many places that you can get vinyl from. You're thinking, oh, I have to charge this amount and times 3 because you're buying it from Michael's, you're buying it from Joann's, buying it from Hobby Lobby. But then there are websites where, because there's no packaging to it, you can get that same size, like same piece of vinyl for 3 times less. So you have to like, it's just a build-up process. It really is this build-up process to know how much to really charge. And that comes in investing in someone who's going to be real with you, who can give you game on how to start. And once you are ready to take orders, do you have to have a website? No. I've taught so many classes and I've taught my students how to use different invoicing systems or how to keep a really organized notebook to keep up with your orders, and or at least have a one-page web presence where people will know who you are, what it is that you do. There's a certain way that you can use your social media, organize it in a certain way, but it's like a gradual buildup. Okay. Thank you. I have a lot of unanswered questions I will need to review and figure out. Well, this is your place. So if it's unanswered questions, who are you asking? Where are you seeking the answers to these questions? That is what these lives are for. If you join at least one of my classes, you get to join the student union. It's a very safe space. Everybody there is kind of like, not say on the same level, but they don't judge you because they started there. Like everyone that's come through my groups has been at 0 and then they're building. So if you join at least one class, you get access to the student union and you can post those types of questions all day long and get answers to them, or join like specific classes where you get all the information in like one place. But they will go unanswered unless you ask the questions. And that's what I do these live videos for, is for you guys to ask those questions and they won't be completely unanswered. She says, that's me right now. I'm DSHA, right? Doing side hustle ads. That is going. Now, look, if y'all see somebody else using that, y'all know they was on this live and they using the Professor Ish, okay? Y'all know y'all ain't never heard nobody say doing side hustle ads. So that's going to be our new hashtag, okay? DSHA, doing side hustle ads. It's okay to have a name for your side hustle. I'm going to love this. DTF, trying to kill HT, it can never. I am not one who believes that one method will push out another, because they all serve different purposes. For craft, like, see, a lot of crafters feel like, oh, DTF is better than HTV, because it's this whole thing of feeling like, oh, I don't want to weed. Oh my God, this is so much better for me because I can't stand weeding. They don't know my value. They don't want. It's not that it's that. It's utilize it for what it is. You can never get a metallic look with DTF. You can't get a glitter look with DTF, like a true glitter or sublimation. When it comes to like, I mean, just that shine on HTV, like if you're looking for a certain look, flock, you can't get that with DTF. You can't get that with sublimation unless you're still using a flock HTV that you still have to weed. You may not have to weed as much, but you still have to like have that. You have to cut it and weed around it. So there are certain looks that you are not going to be able to achieve with certain methods. If we start to think about each method and what its true benefit is, none of these methods will ever die. I utilize each of them. When I need something quick, DTF, if you don't have an in-house printer, if you're not doing the printing and you're not doing the maintenance and doing all this stuff on it, either a DTF or a DTG printer, you're going to need something that is really quick if it's a colored cotton shirt. So HTV still has a place, especially for one-offs, quick runs, short runs. It has a place. I like DTF, but I'm not a fan of DTF because for most people, DTF comes on the gang sheet. That is what people advertise. This is what they say, get it on gang sheets. And there's classes saying, change your business, get you. But excuse me, ma'am, sir. Hey, how you doing? Who finna cut these? Because I don't know if you know, and then especially when y'all they be around here instructing people, squeeze as much on there. You got like a 0.5 millimeter, like you got, I was about to say something. I'm not gonna talk about Google edges, but you have like little to no space in between these because you put them so close together. So you have to be extremely careful. You have to move through that at a snail's pace. You're going to spend more time cutting this up. Then when it comes to colors, every DTF machines are not universal. From one company, it will print one color. From another company, it's going to print a separate color. But you know what you know the color of, no matter what, HTV. This color is going to be this color. From if you use this brand, you know exactly that color output. You know exactly how it's going to look on a shirt. But if you don't do things like I'm always recommending that y'all do, go onto our website, go type in at the top for search, type in color charts. Get the color chart, set it up, send it to 1, 2, 3 DTF printers. That's going to allow you to see how their colors actually come out. I also have this new sheet that I'm doing because it gives you a couple different ranges of colors. Most of you guys are designing in programs in RGB. You don't understand what happens when that DTF printer automatically changes that thing to CMYK and why when you get it back, your colors are different. And even when they change it to CMYK, it's one color from this company, one color from another company. Then it's like some of these companies don't really be doing a lot of maintenance and doing that. They just let that ish print. They're not even looking at the prints. They're not doing any quality control. You're going to get your prints back. It's going to have banding lines in it. It's going to be things like, my sister just went through this. She got a set of DTF prints that had no powder, no adhesive on the back. What if you ordered those and you only had a little bit of time to actually get it done? Like you didn't have time to have, like, because they're not local to you. So you didn't have time for them to remake them and send them to you. There's so many variables that will affect your business when you're using outsourcing. I'm not saying don't use them. They are a very, very, to me, outsourcing is essential to business because you cannot do it all. I don't care if you had the money to get every single printer on the market. You are just one person and you cannot operate all of these machines by yourself. You are going to burn yourself out. Outsourcing is paramount. It is key to the success of my business. Okay. So someone over here says, I use one company. Do you know how many machines do they have? Do they have a backup for their main machine? Not one where it's like, hey, I'm using both of these. Do they have a backup? Do they have a backup resource? If something happens with their location, maybe the power goes out, something happened. We had a situation over here in South Florida a little while ago where there was this big old gas main break or explosion. It blew out all of the power lines and stuff like that. Folks over there did not have any power. So having one company and you are in business is the worst that you can do for your business. It would behoove you to find a couple different companies. You can have your main one, okay? You can have your main one, but I suggest if you are outsourcing, you got a couple side chicks, you got a couple side pieces, okay? This is the time where it is okay to have you a side piece, okay? Have a couple companies on your roster because if you rely on one company to supply your business, the moment that they go through personal trials and tribulations, something happens, a death in the family, they get sick, they can't produce they can't push your order out. They're great, but they're operating on one machine. That machine goes out, they're not managing their business money right, and they can't afford to get a new print head, and they're waiting, and this, that, and the third, or whatever. Now, what happens with your business? You should never, ever, ever rely on one company. Get you some side pieces, okay? I'm an HTV girl. I really take orders that require anything, unless it's a big order. 90% of my t-shirt orders are HTV. I use them for a school because they use the same picture every year. I mean, if you're only using it for one, again, that's on you. If you feel like having one company works for what you do, I cannot change your mind. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just here to provide a little insight on it, that it would behoove anyone that's doing this for profit and you are taking somebody else's money. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. Do not do it. Now, you can choose to take that advice or not. That is totally up to you. I'm not here to tell you you're right, wrong, and what you're doing. I'm just providing some insight. Okay. I highly recommend the professor's classes. They are very detailed. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it, appreciate it, appreciate it. But sublimation, so DTF works, like people use it more so for shirts or apparel. I'm not gonna say shirts, but for apparel. I have seen a few people who have gone and they've tested pressing it, like branding their own boxes, and they're pressing the DTF print to boxes and things of that nature. It's definitely not meant for like hard substrates. That's why they have like the UV DTF for that. But at like what it's essentially made for, it's for fabrics, it's made for apparel. People are doing the hacks and they're pressing it to other things, but that's not really what it's made for. Sublimation, however, there's so many uses for it. If you're using DTF, you have to use UV DTF, which is a totally different printer. You can't even do that from the exact same printer that you do DTF from. But with sublimation, from the exact same printer, you can print things for apparel and other fabrics. You can do hard substrates such as MDF, metal, plastic, ceramic, all these different things. So if, let's say for your apparel part, your t-shirt, your sweatshirts, like all these different things, you're like, okay, I want that to be DTF. It doesn't mean that you don't use sublimation, because there's so many other things that you can use sublimation for. When it comes to HTV, that it might be for HTV for you use HTV for only one thing in your business, and hey, this is what I use this for. But I don't think they will ever cancel out, like one will ever cancel out the other, because for certain businesses, you need all of those things to operate. I ordered some UV DTF stickers and had to get a refund. Some of them wouldn't release, some didn't have. So UV DTF does not have powder. There is like the way that it's printed out, and there is a varnish, or I forget what it's called, that's put like on top, and it's that film, but it's not really a powder. Regular DTF has powder. UV DTF does not. TransPro just sent me some samples, but I haven't tried them. To be honest, most of them, like now, almost all of the vendors are getting into the hot peel. When they first started, most of the films, and that's the thing, DTF is ever evolving. Like it's always a change to it, and things are getting better. When we first started, it was pretty much cold peel. When it came to the powders, there was only really one type of powder. They have changed that to where it's like thinner powders, where it doesn't feel so plastic. I remember the first couple of DTF prints I got when they were first introduced to the market. I was like, what's the point of this? This feels like Jet Pro 3G. It's still heavy. It's still loud. You run your hands over it. This is a horrible feeling. It was because of the type of ink that it was that was being used. It was the film. The film affects a lot of things. You may not think it does, because you think, oh, it's just to hold it. But the film affected a lot of things. And then the powder, that affected a lot of things as well. And the temps and times, the material that you can put it on. Because I remember the first couple of DTF prints, they did not work well with polyester at all, because the colors would still bleed through and stuff like that. Now, some of them, you still may have that issue if you're using 100% colored polyester with some of the DTF prints, but it's gotten a lot better. But there's been a lot of changes, and now a lot of companies are using the hot peel film instead of the cold peel or cool peel films. So there's been a lot of changes in that aspect of it. When it comes to the powder, there's some super fine powders. So some people get cheaper powder, which is a little bit thicker, a little bit chunkier. They don't they don't protect their powders. The humidity gets in there, it gets all clumpy. And then you have some that have different machines where that powder part stays covered up. It's not getting a lot of moisture. It stays very, very fine. The finer it is, the softer it feels on your shirt and melts into your shirt. There's so many variables to DTF. So many variables to it. And then it's like the ink. Some people are using generic inks. Some people are using inks that like from actual companies. It was formulated to like match it. You're going to get great colors. I mean, I'm just telling you, there's a lot to DTF that could go wrong. So definitely try them out as far as like the feel. But what you want to do from any of these companies, you want to know how their colors are. The only way to do that is to send them a print of at least like do some color charts. That way you can always, if you're doing your design, you can always color match based off of that particular printer and the ones that they use. Ask them. Y'all, other thing too, y'all be too afraid to ask people questions. Because I can tell here, y'all don't like to ask me questions. So I know y'all not asking y'all vendors questions. Oh, baby, I'm going to ask questions. How many machines do you have? Are they the exact same machine? Because you can have a company they're like, okay, as they're growing, they're going to get a different DTF, like they're going to get additional DTF printers. But the other DTF printer that they have, it prints different from what you were used to. So now when you do a certain order, it wasn't printed out on the old print, it's printed on the new print, and it looked like crap, or the colors are off because it's a different ink. Y'all better learn to ask these people questions. Y'all are giving y'all money to them. Ask them folks some questions. If they don't want to answer, move on. But anybody who's serious about business and they're confident in theirs, they should not mind questions, because you want to make sure that you are getting the best possible quality. You're not spending your money and you're going to run into these issues, especially the whole printer issues, if they're using different printers with different inks. Let's see. Hi, Shakio. When doing events, do you think uplighting is a necessity? If so, do you have any recommendations? I don't deal with lighting when I'm doing events. That's normally another company if they're doing that. I've done plenty of events where there aren't any uplighting. It just really depends on the feel of like the event. For kids, like my specialty was kids parties and like baby showers that weren't these like uppity type baby showers, and uplighting wasn't a necessity. So I don't think, well, I'll put it this way. I don't think it's a necessity, but for some events, it does add like a certain feel to, like, it can elevate. That's what I'm putting. It can elevate an event, but is a necessity? Absolutely not. I've done plenty of events and never had any uplighting. And I don't, if I did, I'm going to outsource that. So I see your next question, which ones to buy? When I have had events that require uplighting, I don't do them myself. I outsource them and have a company. I was definitely one that did not believe that my company had to do everything, because then that's more storage I had to worry about, and making sure, like just buying more equipment, storage, making time to set that up. Where when my company, if I'm setting up something else, another company can be in there doing that, and my staff can be focused on the things that I'm setting up. So I'm definitely one where I am in total agreement, like, that you should have several vendors to help bring a vision together. How do you feel about, I don't do hacks. I think that it is the dumbest thing in the world. I'm going to go on record saying, I've actually been on record saying that. Don't ask me about the hack. I will never teach you about the hack. I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. DTF is meant for a certain purpose. The whole thing of DTF is so that you don't have to read. It shows in full color. You have that white on the back. DTF prints white. There was no white with sublimation. So why are we trying to do sublimation in this whole DTF like hack situation? The whole thing with DTF is the ink has to remain wet so that the powder can actually stick to it, and then you can cure it. So if you have, I say paint or I say ink, if you have wet ink as it's going through the rollers, it's going to create marks. So what? Oh, please. Oh my gosh, I despise. So how do I feel about it? I absolutely despise the Sublimation DTF hack. What is UV DTF? I'm gonna find this video, and let's see. Honestly speaking, UV DTF. All right, so let me pull this over here. I'm going to hit share so you can go and watch this. So UV DTF is, it's, you know, DTF just stands for direct to film. So they basically take the, it's kind of like the same process where you still print like a white underbase, you print the colors on top, but it is kind of like a sticker. At the end of the day, it's like a sticker, and you are able to put it on hard surfaces. No heat is applied. You just put it down, burnish it down, and it sticks to hard surfaces. That is essentially what UV DTF is, and you can get full color graphics without having to weed. So I'm going to paste that in the chat, and you can go check out that video or search, honestly speaking, UV DTF. And I'm going to try and jump ahead. So I kind of talked about them. These are some cups I had got from Florida Flex, and I'm trying to get to the point where I start to put them on. So you take off, it's just like kind of like a transfer sheet. So it has a protective film on the back. You take that off and then you put it down. So you're going to see me put it down on there, and then you peel it away, and it will simply stick to the hard surface. And as you'll see on there, and I'm showing most of them, they are full color, full graphic design, shading. I think that's the Marvel one, full on color, and you don't have to worry about weeding because it is printed. So wherever there are gaps, nothing's going to print there, and you just put it onto your surface. Okay. Do you know how I can open or edit custom? I can open, edit, or customize an image from the phone or pad to open in my laptop to Silhouette. A drawing program. So if you have an iPad, depending on what it is that you're trying to do, you have Procreate. If you have the Adobe Suite, you have Adobe Fresco. There's also like a mobile version of like Photoshop that you can use. Some people use Canva, but it really depends on the type of editing that you're trying to do. Because you asked for a drawing one, that's going to be programs like Procreate, or I know like Affinity has a mobile version. It does operate different than the full desktop version. But Adobe Fresco, which comes with like the suite, and there is like a mobile version as well for those. So you can try those out, but they require subscriptions to those programs. There we go. I'm not an Apple girl. I'm trying to think, did I put that on? Because I think at one point it was like $9.99. I want to say maybe now Procreate is around like 12, 13 bucks, if I'm not mistaken, but it's meant for iPads. I don't think you can use it on like an iPhone. I think it's meant for certain iPad screens. Yeah, so that's what UV DTF is. Go check out that video. I give a full, like, I give, y'all know how I am. You know, when I do stuff, I'm going to give you a play-by-play, the good, the bad, what I'm feeling, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it. So, you know, you get all of that in my demonstrations. And that was my first time using it. So as a first time user, you just kind of get like my authentic, real world, like just experience with using UV DTF for the first time. Like me actually doing it myself fully for the first time. So definitely check out that video. Incredible evening. Welcome in. If you guys are just hopping on, we are live. We've been live for about an hour and a half now. Of course, when I do these types of videos, it's Q&A based. This is where you get those unanswered questions answered from someone who has been in this industry as far as graphic designing and creating for nearly 3 decades. So, I mean, I started when I was in high school. I just turned 43. So I've been doing this for a while. I've done this as a side hustle. I'm operating like in a full business for the custom side, for the teaching side. We sell Sublimation ink and paper. So Hey, pick my brain. The questions that you have, this is the time to ask those questions. Oh, come on, TikTok. We can do better than that. Double tap that screen so that we can, I can end up on the For You page and get some more people in here. If you guys can help me out with that, that would be greatly appreciated. Make sure that on YouTube, you guys are clicking out of the live chat and giving the video a thumbs up. I'm scared of the hack. So, and also with the hack, it's only for white cotton shirts. If you put it on a colored cotton shirt, you're going to run into the same issues because ink, even y'all do know DTF ink is translucent as well, right? Without that white ink, DTF would not show up on shirts either. Every single ink except for toner ink is translucent. Every single last one of them. So you need that white ink. So when you're doing with sublimation, it's only meant to be able to put things on white cotton shirts. If you put them on colored, you still run into the same issue. So to me, it's just not worth it. If you guys are interested, like if you've done Silhouette, you've done Canva, you just want to kind of learn design, you want to learn Photoshop, you don't have, I say Photoshop, but we have a student that's following along and they're using Photo P. You can somewhat still follow along if you're using like Affinity Photo, not Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo, but I don't show all of those programs except for Photo P. I mainly teach from Photoshop, but it will definitely enhance your skills. And I've been told that I have taught more in 4 classes than what people have learned in an entire year. So, pat on the back to me. I'm going to go ahead and toot my own horn on that. The way that I teach it is really designed to help you learn, not just teach from, templates or like, hey, just follow me and I'm doing this. I'm really teaching you the foundation, the essentials of the program and what things do. I mean, last class, I heard comments like, man, I always wanted to know what that did. And it was like, man, this is going to save me 30 minutes. If you only knew the way that I was doing this, I showed them about blend modes and how that changes things. It's like, wow, if you knew the way that I was doing, this is going to shave off so much time. So when you're learning the essentials, you're learning the foundation, it definitely will elevate how you design. It will cut your design time in half. The things that you're doing, yes, you are accomplishing them, but is it an efficient way of doing it? For most of you guys, it's not going to be an efficient way of doing it, and you're going to spend way too much time. This is why you feel like, man, I'm doing all this designing, you need to pay me $1 million because I'm spending so much time designing. But that's because you don't know how to really use the program and the things to do to cut down your design time. Our Essentials of Photoshop, our Essentials of Silhouette Studio, they do that for you. Essentials of Silhouette Studio will go up by the end of the month. We go back into live classes starting in July, meaning live sessions. I'm teaching it. You could ask questions. I do, we do, you do, like that type situation starts up again in July. It's the second refresher. Once July hits, that price is going to go up from 103 because now not only do you have access to those live trainings, but you have access to the first quarter refresher. You have access to the original 30 days. So every time we're adding one on, because you're now getting access to more, the sooner you get in on it, hey, you get all this, you get access to all this information. No matter how many refresher sessions we do, you get access to them at no additional cost. But every time I add on one, the cost will go up. So take advantage now. It's $103.65. That cost will go up before July. Photoshop is going on right now. You can use Sezzle, break that up into payments, and we'll get paid in full. You get to pay yours in installments, but you still get full access to the class. Take advantage of the trainings. I can promise you're going to learn in my class. I can't speak for anybody else's, but the way that I teach, it's broken down in a way to where a kindergarten can understand it. What transfer paper do you recommend for garment that, and does the type of printer matter? Heat press use. I am definitely like if you're just using a regular standard printer, I've tried the Caesar the Caesar DTV. It doesn't work well with my Epson printer. I need to try and use it with this Canon printer and see if it's going to be any different, because Epson printers are heat free. The Canon uses heat. So I need to see if it's going to be different on that particular printer. I haven't tested it just yet, so that's coming. But my go-to always and forever is Jet Pro 3G. So I love me some Jet Pro 3G opaque. As far as like transferring, that can be like the difficult part. I mainly was using heat tape because it doesn't rip the color off of it. I want to try the Econo Transfer like low tack tape and see if that will pick it up and it won't take color away from it. Because some of the other ones, when you peel off the transfer tape, it takes off some of the color. So I want to see. I haven't tested the Econo Transfer, but their transfer tape is bomb.com. The low tack and the strong tack, the heavy tack. Oh my God, their transfer paper is like no other. That is the best, hands down. Econo Transfers, transfer tape, low tack, or the heavy tack, strong tack, whatever the heck, strong grip, whatever it's called. It is the best transfer tape ever. I'm telling you. But yeah, that's my preference is Jet Pro. If you are using a sublimation printer, Econo Transfers, Econo Subline, top tier. The satin, the flock, the fabric, the vinyl one you have to put through the printer one. That was my least favorite, but that satin, that flock, and the fabric, oh hunty, baby, I love them. I've done the DTF sub hack and it works great and served its purpose for what I was doing. Stupid is a bit, hey, that's mine. So it might be harsh for you. I personally think it serves no purpose. So it is okay. It's okay for us to agree to disagree. And if you do not agree, that is fine. But it is a pointless hack. If it served your purpose on your white cotton shirts, that's great. I'm still going to stand by. I think it is the stupidest thing in the world. So you don't have to call stupid. That's my personal opinion on it. I think it's the dumbest thing ever. Are you experiencing any issues with the new update to Silhouette Studio? No, not on my system. No, the one that I'm on has been pretty stable. Well, when I first went to 4.5, it worked for a little bit and then it just like acted a plum fool and I had to go up to whatever the next one was. So I've been using it for a couple of months now and I haven't experienced any issues. I do believe that folk need to be more careful when doing the hack and should ask questions to be better informed of when and how it can be useful. What's the score? They just scored? I'm sorry, y'all. The Panthers are Stanley Cup. They just got to go? They just got to go? Did we just score a goal? Oh, okay. What's the score? 1-1. Ooh, they actually let them score this time. I've never used Subli fabric, so I don't really have anything on that one. When I tried using Jet Pro, the paper kept getting stuck. What could be the problem? Which printer are you using? I have an inkjet photo printer. So for me, I use Epson workforce printers. I despise EcoTank printers. That's another one that I'm going to use a very strong word. I think EcoTank printers are, I'm not going to say EcoTank printers because my Canon is not, and I kind of like that one. But the way Epson made theirs and how they advertise them, I think it's the dumbest marketing in the world because you use your own cartridges and say cartridges, blah, don't use that, get an EcoTank. And, you have Shaq promoting it, but you're showing your own cartridges and you continue to sell printers that are cartridge-based printers. I just think that marketing, it just turns me off. And there has been a lot of issues with their EcoTank printers. So I'm not a fan of Actually, EcoTank is actually proprietary. Like that name is for them because other ones will use like Super Tank or just tank printers. So EcoTank is associated with like Epson. I despise EcoTank printers, except for there's only one because it's pigment ink, and I think they got it right with that one. Is the pigment ink work EcoTank printers or Super Tank printers? Like the right now it's like the 16600, 16650. All the other ones, ugh. So I'm not a big fan of them. That's a very strong word for me, is I despise them. So I can never answer your question on I've had them, I have used them, and I've experienced the issue that other people have, and I'm like, I'm using them how they say to use them. One of them had regular ink in it and it still stopped printing. So you will not catch me spending my money on any Epson EcoTank printers other than if I needed to get one, it would be the 16600, 16650, but I doubt I will ever do that because I got the Canon TC20. So now that kind of just eliminates me ever getting a 16600, 16620 for pigment ink printing. Now, if you wanted to convert that to sublimation, hey, I still recommend doing that. But I need it just really depends on like which printer you are using. And like someone said, it never picked up. So she says she has an HP. I've never used HP printers other than my laser HP printer. It could be a number of things. If it curled, if there's humidity, if that printer does not not every printer picks up thicker material. And when it comes to Jet Pro, you have the base, which is like a paper, and then you have the top, which is the actual like printed part. So maybe that particular printer has an issue with picking up heavier material, like heavier media. So if it's not great with thick cardstock, it might not be great with Jet Pro 3G. Every printer is going to be different. It's a regular Canon photo printer. You can try it. There are companies that sell smaller packs. Try the 8.5 by 11. If you don't want to necessarily go straight to Jet Pro, try the Avery brand or the Jolie brand. They're about the same thickness. You can go in store and buy them. You also have Pen and Gear. They have a dark transfer paper. They all pretty much work the same. I like Jet Pro 3G because it comes in 11 by 17, and that's pretty much all I buy. I don't buy the smaller sheets. So, and of course, when you're buying them in bulk, it comes out way less than getting Avery like retail from the store. Those things are really expensive when you're buying them in the store. But you can try that out and see if your printer will pick them up before you go and maybe go like to Amazon or certain places and get the Jet Pro 3G. I haven't tried. Oh, the Flock is my favorite. Now the Flock is a little bit different because it does, to me, I don't know what it is, like the coating on it. To me, the Flock changes the color a little bit. I have a cap topper, and one is in glitter. No, that was in glitter and satin. What was it? Oh no, it was. So I don't think I have the Flock one to show me because that's the one the parent took. But I did one on the satin and one on the Flock, and the colors were a little bit more saturated, which isn't a great thing because it almost changes the tone and the tint of the color. On the Flock one, like the colors were really, 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 really saturated. So I'm like, I still love it though. Like Flock was the one that I fell in love with. I tried that one first. And then when I got my hands on the satin, baby, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. Satin is my favorite. You are welcome. All right, my y'all heard me kind of go and ask. This time I didn't even bother to mute y'all. Our Panthers are, we don't watch hockey all the time, but when it comes to our local teams being in championships, baby, we are like the biggest fans ever, and we're gonna watch and we're gonna root for them. And so the Panthers are, in the hunt for the Stanley Cup. They're in the finals 2 years in a row, so hopefully they bring it on home, and we're home right now, so hopefully they win the 2 at home. So I want to kind of go and watch them play. So last call, questions. Your unanswered questions can be answered tonight. All you have to do is put it in the chat. Well, at least I can somewhat help. So like I said, with the HP, I've never used that. So my suggestion to you would be to try a different product to see if it's just the Jet Pro. Then that will let you know that particular product doesn't work well with your printer and you have to use something else. I know my husband told me that we just scored and tied it up. I heard it, and you hear the little horn, so I knew that they scored. So someone on TikTok says, I have HP and I use Avery. Have you ever tried to use the Jet Pro 3G with your HP? Because I know, like, for just was it like for Capri Suns and things like that, I cannot think of the name of the sticker paper, but I remember Retisha. She tried to use that with her HP and it would never print, like it would never dry. Like it would just wipe off and it would smear with her HP printer. But I was able to print that same exact one with my Epson printer and I did not have that issue. You have some material, some paper, some media that will say that it's made just for inkjet, some that's made for laser. And you have some that will say like it can be used with inkjet or laser. With a lot of the HP printers, you have to use paper that specifically says it's for inkjet. If it's a hybrid, sometimes it can have issues. And I found that out when, Retisha and I were printing the exact same image, using the exact same sticker paper, and her HP didn't do well with it and mine's did. Sometimes you have to change the setting on the back. She said she'll try it out. Okay. No, but I have used matte sticker paper. It'll tell you that if you're using an HP printer, use the HP photo paper settings. Okay. So she says, try different settings to see if it will pick it up and it won't jam. So printer wise, as far as like printers that I have experience with, I am an Epson girl. And even though I despise EcoTank printers, I have used them. I understand how they work. I can walk you through what little bit of troubleshooting and correction that you can do for them. And Canon, those are my kind of like go-tos. Was also once a Brother girl. I don't use the Brother printers anymore. I haven't used those in years. I have a Roland printer, but I also just understand EcoSolvent, solvent, latex printers. But yeah, HP, other than my laser one, I'm not a big fan of HP printers. I have an issue with my HP picking up the heavier papers. Yeah. So I don't think HP does well with heavy papers. I think that was one of the things when it comes to HP. They don't do well with heavy papers, no matter what kind of heavy paper it is. So like Epson, if you don't know, Epson has a setting that says thick paper and envelope. You set it on the computer, like in your print settings, and you set it on the printer itself. And it basically drops, I think it drops or it raises the print head or something like that, or it drops something. I forget what it does. And it allows for thicker paper to feed through up to a certain thickness because I have some glossy, actually I have some matte and some glossy cardstock that I can't feed through the trays. The way the trays work and the fact that it has to go up and like kind of come back through, like bend and come around, it doesn't work well in the trays, but I can put it in the rear feed because the rear feed just kind of goes straight through. It doesn't have to curve up. So depending on how the printer works, that might be a thing too with, how thick of a paper it can handle. All right. So no new questions have been posted. I thank you guys so very much for. Hello, Jaleesa. How are you? We were doing like a Q&A. I was here to answer any questions that you guys have. I was just about to wrap up. You're just joining. If you have a question, let me know, and I'll pause. With my cardstock, I have to put them in like 2 at a time. I can't add a lot of sheets in there. Yeah, see, and that's a thing too with some of the printers as well, is things like that. Like you have to babysit the printer. So every printer is different. You got to learn what's right for yours. That's why when people kind of ask me for recommendations on certain things, I can only recommend it based off of how I have used it, the printers that I have used. If you're using printers that are similar to mine, you can try these things out. But if you go and you kind of like take the thing that I recommend and I said that I love, and your printer is different and it doesn't work on yours, I'm like, what the hell was the professor talking about? I try to be very, very clear on, like, if I'm recommending something, I'm also using X, Y, and Z. Do you know if with Epson Eco tanks, inks can be mixed? What do you mean inks? Like meaning ink brands? Child, look, I sell ink. Okay, so yes, I definitely know that. I sell ink. And of course, companies will tell you that you cannot mix brands of ink because they want you to continue to buy theirs. But you may come across an ink that is going to be less expensive, going to be a little bit more in your price range, your budget, and things of that nature. Oh, so for regular printing, same thing. So you don't want to mix inks such as, like, if you're using it for a regular printer, you're using the ink that comes with it. That is dye-based ink. Like, you would not be able to buy our regular ink for regular printing, which is called pigment ink, because that is a totally different type of ink. Even though they're both for regular printing, as you can see on screen right here, the ink looks the color that it is. It looks yellow. But the ink that comes in the bottle, the yellow looks like orange. The magenta doesn't look red, like, or pink. It looks like a dark, dark brown. So you cannot mix brands. I mean, like, types of ink, like put pigment ink in there if you're already using dye-based ink. But if you found a less expensive dye-based ink, you can put it in there. What you take the risk in as, like, in is, how was it formulated? Some of these inks are a bit watered down. Like, they have a higher water content than like all of the, like, the inks and the pigmentation, the coloring and things of that nature. The way that they color it, it can be a stronger concentration of color in their ink. So when you put it in your printer, your colors may vary slightly, especially when the colors are mixed. So whenever you're going to switch brands or like add a new brand in, I always recommend just doing it one ink at a time, like as the colors are going out. Never like top all of them off, because it can cause like a really drastic change if that ink is a totally different formulation than what you had in there previously. So you want to do that as a gradual change, and you never, ever, ever. This is an absolute, this is a non-negotiable. I know there's some things someone said, me saying that it's stupid is kind of harsh right here. This is a non-negotiable, okay? Never, ever, 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 ever change inks or mix inks in the middle of a print job. Once the ink settles, if you have nothing to compare it to, no one will be none the wiser. It might be just a slight change. But if you add a different brand, or even like just top it off, and it's not like the genuine Epson brand where we know that theirs is consistently made the same way. If you are putting a different ink in there and it's in the middle of a print job, from the first couple of prints to the last prints, you might see a color change. It's not always, but with certain brands, you might see it. So now it's like, do you just go ahead and do it? And your client like, okay, well, why do these look different? Or do you now have to reprint all of those prints over? So if you can, like, let's say if you feel like it's really, really low and you're not going to make it through that print job, go ahead, top off whatever colors you have. If it's Eco Tank, give it just a little quick shake. Do a print head cleaning to put, so that you mix in all that ink in the lines, and then do your print job. But never, ever, ever mix inks in the middle of a print job. Thank you for the gifts. Appreciate it. I have another eco tank that requires Epson 522. I believe the 2800s are 502. If in that case, they are basically the same inks. I think the difference might be the nozzle, but the ink itself should be. Let me see. I have another eco tank. Okay, wait. Unless the eco tank printer that you had was like the 16600, 16. Let me see. Which one is the 16600, 16650? Hold on. Let me see. Let's see. Epson 16600 eco tank. Did the other team score? Okay, he tripping. What's the score now? Because he not talking junk, as if like somebody don't effed up. Okay, no. So this one is 542 for this one. Let's see. Let's go back and go Epson 15,000. It uses the 15,000 uses 502. And then I think that's what it is. So if you have the 15, that is all dye-based ink. So you should be okay when it comes to mixing those. 2800. So if that's 522, you should definitely be okay with doing the 502 and the 522. They're both dye-based inks. Yeah, that part is fine. They're all dye-based inks. You're good on that one. So if you look at them, the ink will look basically the same. They're dye-based. So it's not like mixing pigment ink with the other one. You should be good on that one. You're very welcome. Hey, just say. I just realized hold up. Pause. Was the ink, wait a minute. I got some of that ink somewhere. I got to go find my bottle. When did the ink become 65 ml? Was it the ink bottles 70 ml? I know I'm not. That's what. That's funny. So you do know, so it looks exactly the same. You want to know what's different? The 502 is 70 ml. The 522 is 65 ml. That is the only difference. Because I was like, wait a minute, 65 ml since when? Because that ink has always been 70 ml. That is the only difference. 522 is 70 ml. 502, no, I mean, 502 is 70 ml. 522 is 65 ml. That's literally the only difference. They had to give it a different number because it's a different size bottle. It's a different volume. I no longer do the afternoon classes, so all the classes are in the evening. I never do them. I can't. No one comes when they're in the afternoon anymore. So everyone's back at like work and other stuff. Like they're back to having. It's just a side hustle. Like it's just their side piece. That their custom side. So I kind of have to do everything in the evening now. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. That is so fun. Oh, because I'm like, when in the hell did it be? Because I was like, let me go check my bottle because I got some. I'm like, When did they become 65? Because 70 is why so many companies was selling the ink as 70 mLs, because that is how it was sold. Hold on, let's let me see. Epson 2730. That one is, I can't tell, 522. Okay, so that one is 522, but so that one would be a 65 ml bottle. But yeah, so that's the only difference. That's the only difference. I'm gonna go look now. I'm gonna go look at my bottles because I swear I don't remember them being 65 ml. Because I mean, they could have easily changed the website to reflect that. I got to go look at my boxes now and see what the hell did they say. Because the bottles look exactly the same. So wait, have you guys seen? There is like a couple TikTok videos where they're going there showing like that there's a difference. So what they basically do is put like a bubble on the inside where the bottle itself looks the same. So someone was showing like the comparison of like how they change the bottle size of like Gatorades and what is it? It was a shampoo and it said new size or bigger size. The bottle is bigger, but even on there, the volume is smaller because they basically put a big bubble at the bottom. So there's like a hump where that, not say it like hollows it out, but that now is less space. So the bottle itself, when you're holding them, like if you hold them side by side, they probably look exactly the same. If you look at where they line up at, it's probably going to be at the same exact point. But if you then look at those two bottles, one will probably have a bigger bubble in the bottom, like a higher one, which is going to take up space. But the bottles themselves look exactly the same. That's so funny. Oh wow. All right, y'all. No, for real this time. That I'm so glad I waited for your question, Jaleesa, because that is and that's the thing I'm saying. Like, I really used to love Epson as a brand, and I get it. Times have changed. I mean, the economy is changing, but that part I get because a lot of companies are doing that where the bottles look the same, but you're getting less because they're putting that they're moving that plastic bubble up some. A lot of companies are doing that. Like I always said, when it comes to Epson, what just bugs me is them having this whole marketing campaign about just feel and chill and saying cartridges are bad, don't use cartridges, but you still continue to sell and manufacture printers that use cartridges. That's the thing that I don't understand about them. Yeah, I'm so glad I waited for you to come in because that is hilarious. Now I want to go and actually now it's like you're sending me now on a mission. Now I have to look at them and look at the two bottle, like the different sets of bottles that I have, and look and see how big that bubble is at the bottom. Like now I have to. Like I have to at this point. I have to. All right, y'all. So until next time, this last time I'm going to say it like for real this time. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity. Be incredible. Peace.